Yes, guys, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and welcome back to the show, guys. Hope everyone's doing good. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. Tonight, guys, we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the transfers at the moment that Liverpool are after a number six, and that deal for Andre from Brazil, and there's lots to talk about. There's lots to talk about. And I need help to talk about all this. So I brought in Ben. Ben, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm all good, thank you. I had a couple internet hiccups just before we went live, but I think I'm all good for now, mate. But if I freeze or go off, I'm trying to fix it. So yeah, but yeah, I'm all good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's my birthday
Okay.
tomorrow, so I'm doing
Oh,
good.
happy birthday for tomorrow,
I'm
mate.
doing good. I'm going to be 42. I'm getting old,
Wow.
man. Getting old. Getting old.
You don't look it, mate. You don't look it.
No, that's good soap. That's all you need. Just good soap, and you're away. Um, yeah. So we've got a lot to talk about. Look, it came up today that Liverpool have bid for. We all know Liverpool have bid for Lavia. Liverpool bid for a second time for Lavia, and obviously it got knocked back, and the world went absolutely crazy. And I can understand it. I can understand why all Liverpool fans at this moment in time are a bit peed off, a bit irritated, a bit annoyed, agitated. I get it, and we're all shooting the messenger and all that. I understand it, but I go from it from a business point of view where Liverpool might be looking at it and thinking, right, 50 million quid for a player that played 35 games in his professional debut last season is a lot of money. We don't really want to bid for 50 million. And I don't blame the club, Ben, but at the same time, the club have put themselves in this own predicament anyway by desperately trying to find a defensive midfielder that the whole of Europe knows.
Exactly, mate. Spot on. I don't really have any qualms in the club trying to get a good deal because we know that's what we like to do. But I think we've known for far too long now that Fabinho was going to leave. Even before it was announced yesterday, we knew 3 weeks ago he was going to be out the door. As soon as that bid came in and Ornstein put that report out, it was obvious he was going to go. So you've had 3 weeks to sort this out. And this is coming from somebody like yourself, mate. I like to be very positive about things. It takes a lot for me to get annoyed about the club. But even before Fabinho left, mate, there was an argument that we needed another one anyway.
Yeah.
So you know, you spent all this time dilly dallying to then only increase the second bid by what 3 or 4 million. So it just seems like we're wasting time. Like, what are we doing? Like you say, every single club in Europe with a valuable defensive midfielder, they know exactly what we need and they know how much money we'll have because of the Fabinho money plus whatever money we had anyway to spend, which no one knows is probably not a lot, but they know what we need and they know we've got the money. So it sort of okay at the start of the window, as soon as that window opened, yeah, negotiate it. Fine, take 3 or 4 weeks to get this deal done. But we play Chelsea a week on Sunday. Even if we sign Lavia now, we've wasted that much time. There is absolutely zero chance he will start that game. So it's sort of it's we've got to do it this week, in my opinion. Get it done this week. At least give him that Dom stat, I think it is, game at Preston, to be in the squad in some sort, because we can't just, even if we do go and sign him now, which by the way, I still think we'll sign him. I just think there's been far too much go into it. There's been far too much noise. We don't really bid once, never mind twice, for a player that we don't think we'll sign. So I still think we might not go up to 50, but I think we'll maybe settle at 45, and they might accept that, especially if Lavia pushes for the move. But I'm just quite disappointed, to be honest, mate, because even Klopp himself at the back end of the last season, he stated how important it is for him to have his players in for pre-season. And yeah, it was a great start with McAllister and Szoboszlai, but Fabinho, Tavares, mate, that's a huge player to replace, and we still ain't done it with a week and a half left. So until the season starts.
No, exactly.
Mm.
Look, there's some people in the chat now saying that the Lavia deal's off. I haven't seen nothing yet
It's
on
not
my
off.
end.
He's
But
not said that either. He said that we're still negotiating.
yeah, I see a negotiation and continue from Romeo Lavia, who wants the Anfield move. So look, It's an interesting one because I can understand Liverpool's point of view of not wanting to spend 50 million on a pretty unproven player at 19 years of age who really had his professional debut season last year at Southampton. And if you look at it, Declan Rice went for 100 million to Arsenal with years of proof behind him how good he can be.
Yeah.
Southampton are asking for 50% less than what Rice went for a kid who played 35 games. That's all he's got behind him. So you're looking at potential and how good a player can actually be. So I can understand Liverpool not wanting to go to the 50 million. I really can. But what shocks me at the first place is that Liverpool is still bidding 40 million for him. That an unproven player. So it just shows that Liverpool have got money because they're bidding 40 million for an unproven Premier League player who they think's got huge potential. So they obviously see a lot in him. There's some rumours as well today that Southampton are now looking for 60. I don't know if that's completely
Not true.
true.
Yeah.
I think it was Duncan
The same guy that
Carter
said that Chelsea are trying to get Mbappe 2 days ago. Yeah. So.
Duncan Carter. Now Duncan Carter, I think writes some good football articles, but he's not really a transfer. He's not really a transfer guy, but he writes some good football articles. But the transfer side of things, maybe he's at the guessing now. I think he's guessing at it because I think he's looking at it thinking, right, as you said, Liverpool are bidding in the 40 million range. They're not like miles out of what Southampton are asking.
That's what doesn't make sense, yeah.
Southampton are just like, the facts comes, they're not looking at it, ripping it up and rejecting it straight away.
Yeah. Do you know what it might be, though? Like, they already know they can get 40 next season from City with that clause. And I think that clause has really messed things up for us because that's almost like if City want that player, that's guaranteed 40 mil. Then I think City have some sort of percentage that they'll get from the deal. So I can see why they want the 50 million. And this is a player with world-class potential as well. So it's not like, West Ham trying to get Ward-Prowse, who's late 20s, been around for a while, fair enough. This is a player that does have world-class potential, and they know that. We know that. That's obviously why we want him. But I agree with everything you said about, we want to get the best deal. And like I said before, I think that's acceptable at the start of the window. But now, come on, man, just put the money down, get the player in. Let's not waste any more time because we still need a centre-back as well. If we're doing this over a DM, then that doesn't really fill me with confidence that a centre-back's going to come in. So.
And this is the issue. I mean, you can argue we need 2 midfielders still, to be fair. I mean, there is that argument you could make. I know a lot of people, we do need a centre-back. Kanate and Van Dijk are head and shoulders above everyone. And then Matip's not the Matip of a few years ago, where if Matip's third choice, it's no problem at all. And then Joe Gomez has got zero confidence now. I don't know he'll ever get it back, especially playing for Liverpool. Joe Gomez looks like the kind of footballer who just needs a new start somewhere.
I think he'll be back up right back, especially if he's centre back. Yeah.
And how many games is he really going to play next season to build his confidence as well? So Liverpool definitely need a backup centre back, a third choice centre back that you'd be pretty happy with in the team. But this midfield situation needs to be sorted, as you say. You're right. Liverpool just have to pay for the odds. Now, the rumours are Liverpool go bid for a third bid. Southampton are apparently not upset. Well, what I've heard and read is that Southampton are not upset with Liverpool by underballing them whatsoever. They understand the situation. And they just want Liverpool to match what they value them as.
They can't be angry with us, mate. We've kept their club afloat for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? So
but we're not coming with such low ball numbers either. It's not like we're bidding 25 million. You know what I mean?
You're not taking the mick,
So we're bidding good prices. They just want a particular number. Now, if Liverpool bid 50 million eventually and Southampton still say, no, we want that. We want a little bit more now. Then Liverpool just have to walk away because it just gets stupid and you're getting the mick taken out of you. But the problem Liverpool have got, they put themselves in this position because they need a midfielder. You go anywhere now, go anywhere around Europe and looking for a midfielder, they go ask for a lot of money. And that is maybe why Liverpool might be looking in the Brazilian transfer market. Because this Andre's come up. I think someone tweeted it about a month ago. And no one gave it any credibility.
Yeah, I've seen his name flying about. Yeah.
Yeah, no one gave it any credibility and went, I've never even heard of it. I've never heard of the guy. Someone's going to pretend they've watched him every weekend.
Yeah.
We know that. Someone's going to pretend, I'll watch him every weekend. It's a baller. So it's going to come from someone. But I don't know nothing about him, Ben. And the
Zilch.
geezer put his tweet out about a month ago about it. Everyone ignored it. And then today, it's really hit off. Now, apparently, it's really hit off because the Brazilian transfer window shuts tomorrow. And what apparently Liverpool been told is that Andre wants to go to Liverpool. Apparently, that's the feeling that they're getting, that he wants to go, because why wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to lose one of their players 24 hours before the transfer window shuts, with no chance of replacing him. So it's either you buy him and he stays there, and then you can
Which is
maybe
pointless.
and you can bring him in January or something like that. When then they got the chance to scout someone and buy someone midway through. Or you just apparently he's got a release clause as well that you can buy for 36 million, I think it is, and that will get him today, sort of thing. So I personally think Liverpool aren't looking at him as an alternative to Lavia. I think Liverpool are looking at both of them because
I agree.
value for money. And what do we always say about FSG? No matter what everyone's opinion, they look for value in the market. The way their transfer committee are run, they look for value in the market. They look what a player's age is, what their potential is, how bright of a future they got, their ceiling, how they adapt to situations, all this sort of thing. That's what we look at, and that's why we look at value, and that's why they're going for Lavia. Because I think I've got a thing here about Lavia. So yeah, this is possession one in the middle third for under 20 players in Europe's top 5 leagues last season. Lavia comes out on top on that. And look at some of the names there as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of the best under 20 players around. And he comes out on top of that. Liverpool have done their homework on him. There's a reason they want him. You heard what Klopp said in pre-season so far. He wants to be the best team in possession, the best team in transition, the best team at counter-pressing. So we are not just after a DM who just breaks up play, but then is very limited with the football.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for that particular DM. A bit like Fabinho at his best. Fabinho at his best could break up play, read the game better than anyone, and was a very good passer of football that you probably don't get credit for. And could bang a goal if he needs to. So we are looking for a particular number 6 who has that kind of skill. And as I say, I can understand why they're very interested in Lavia over Casado. I know people keep saying about Casado, we're not going for him because he's 100 million. I just don't think Casado and Lavia are 50 million pounds apart.
No chance.
I don't think there's that much difference. I think Casado's probably a little bit better at the moment.
Probably like 20 million.
Yeah, he's a couple of years older. But if Lavia played for Brighton last season,
exactly,
I think Brighton would be asking for 80 million for Lavia and not the 50 Southampton are asking for. How do you feel about that, Ben?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think as well, if Southampton never got relegated, they would have been asking for that sort of price. But obviously, a relegated club just can't ask for that sort of money. Like, that's just ridiculous. But just on the back of Lavia, I remember hearing that, I think it was the Vincent Company tournament that they do in Anderlecht. I think they do it annually. I'm not too sure how often they do it. I think, I could be wrong, but I believe it's for youth prospects to come and play, and big clubs go and scout them. And apparently, Company told Pep, like, you need to look at this player, and Pep brought him in. And Pep really wanted to get him involved at City, but he just couldn't. Like, they're going for titles. They were trying to win the Champions League. At this time, Lavia's only 17, 18. You just can't get him in. Like, it's impossible. So obviously that's why they've put the buyback clause in, because they didn't want to lose the opportunity to have Romeo Lavia. So that, a generational manager having that much faith in this youngster, that tells you everything you need to know already. To then watch how he played at Southampton, in an absolutely woeful team, by the way. To play at the level he did in a midfield that is absolutely abysmal is a huge credit to him. And on the back of this Andre stuff, I don't believe it's one or the other, to be honest. I know that's the sort of thing we're getting, but I don't know anything about Andre. I've never watched the guy play. But from what I've read today, it looks like they're different profiles, and if you are losing Fabinho, which we obviously are now, like, it's all confirmed, you have to go and get somebody that's not exactly the same as him, but that can sort of do the things that he can do, which Lavia, he obviously can, but obviously not to the prime Fabinho level yet. But you can see it. It's there for all to see, the stat you've just brought up. So I don't think it's one or the other, to be fair. I think we're probably looking at both. I still think we'll get Lavia. And yeah, I just want it to be done as soon as we can, mate, to be honest, because it's just drawn on for way too long. It's not fair on Klopp, who's got a plan for this sort of rebuild, this 2.0 team. So yeah, just need to get it done now, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Big up Cyberzone and Super Chat, much appreciated. Window's a mess. Yeah, 11 days until it starts. Yeah, man, it's look, I agree, it's a bit of a mess at the moment. Look, I'm happy with the two players we've obviously brought in. More than happy. Szoboszlai and McAllister are going to be
amazing players.
Look, I think McAllister might hit the ground running a little bit quicker. I think he already has in pre-season. McAllister, I don't know about you, Ben, but McAllister already looks like he's been at Liverpool for a year.
Unreal. Yeah,
he's settled in
definitely.
so quickly. I think Szoboszlai might take a little bit longer, but McAllister's used to the setup in this country. He's played Liverpool many times before. He understands the way they play, and he's more suited to it at the moment. But Szoboszlai, when he gets going, he finds his feet. He works out his position where Klopp wants him to be on the pitch and what he wants to do. These two are going to be outrageous signings in the years to come, in my opinion.
100%, mate. 100%. I think McAllister, like you say, he did. I think the last game, especially, he was absolutely unreal. But I think in that 20 minutes we saw Szoboszlai, because obviously he came on at half time because of his injury, he only played 20 minutes. He was unreal as well. And I've already seen like a little improvement from his first game. And one thing I noticed more than anything is that guy's got to be our corner taker now, because his corners are unreal. So I definitely want to see him take them more often.
Yeah, I'm sort of sick of the Trent Robbo corners. I ain't going to lie.
Me too.
Look, I love both guys, but it's the same delivery every week, and it gets
exactly,
a bit same old, get a bit same old. Look, there's people like I was just watching Craig on the Anfield Agenda. Big up, Craig. He's talking about Liverpool. FSG are just looking for the cheap option all the time, and there might be some truth into it. There's probably a lot of truth into it. Let's be fair, but I always say I think we always sometimes get too stuck in this cheap option area because when City built Alvarez for 12 million and everyone argued why weren't we looking for him when he was only 12 million, there's players in the market that you don't have to spend fortunes on if they're quality players at a cheap value. Sometimes I get really frustrated because I'm like, if we bought Szoboszlai and McAllister for 200 million, 100 million a piece, sometimes I feel like the fan base will go, oh my God, we spent 200 million on these two quality players. But we got them both for like less than 100 million. And it's sort of like, is it spending cheap? It winds me up sometimes because I'm like, sometimes you can't win. If you go through Jurgen Klopp's best ever side at Liverpool, and probably the best squad he's ever managed it with Dortmund. That Dortmund team was great, but if you look at the Champions League, Premier League winning squads that he had at Liverpool, we broke the world record on a goalkeeper and a centre back. We've got to remember that. Yes, the Coutinho money funded it, but we didn't have to break world records for two footballers, and we did. Then you've got players like Mo Salah cost 30 odd million, Mane cost 30 odd million. I think Bobby was 29 million.
Robbo 8.
Robbo 8. Genie came in for 20 odd million a time. And I remember a lot of Liverpool fans didn't want Genie at that time. Why am I buying a relegated Newcastle player? Sometimes you can buy, Matip was a free, Milner was a free. Sometimes it's not the cheap option, it's the right option. And sometimes they do cheap out. I agree. Like, why aren't we after blah de blah and blah de blah because they cost too much? I agree. We all agree. But sometimes the right option is the right option, Ben. It's as simple as that sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. There was no plan B to Virgil van Dijk, which was the best thing we ever did, because I remember, just like you say, when that fell through, because Klopp was meeting up with him in private, and we all know what happened. We had to do a public apology and withdraw our interest. Everyone was like, oh, go and sign this guy, go and sign that guy. And I think some of the names being thrown about, if you look at them now, would have been absolutely disastrous. And we stuck to it, and we ended up getting Virgil van Dijk for 75 million, paid a bit more. The rest is absolute history, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's proven in the past that, when we want our target and we pay what the club wants, it is what it is, and we get it done. I do think that Southampton are being a bit, over the top, because I've just seen now as well that West Ham have pulled out of a deal to get Ward-Prowse. So it's clearly not just us that feel like they're valuing their players too much. It's West Ham as well. So
Yeah.
I think there'll come a time where they might think, actually, yeah, let's settle at 45 million. Let's give Lavia what he wants, because at the end of the day, we've all seen that we've got the green light from the player. Personal terms from day one were said that it will never be an issue. Lavia wants to go and play for Klopp. He wants to go and play at Anfield. He wants to play for Liverpool. So as long as we just get that money down, which, let's be real, for a club as big as us, as club as successful as us, with the manager we have, it's not much, is it? Another 4.5 million probably gets it done. So yeah, I'd expect that to happen, to be honest, mate, in the next couple of days. If it's not done, if that third bid hasn't gone in by what we on Tuesday, by Friday, then it's okay. This is very concerning now. You know what I mean? Like, we've got Chelsea in just over a week's time. But yeah, let's just see what they're doing, man. I think today could have been some sort of briefing, to be honest. All this stuff from Andre. Why have we never heard about Andre before today? You know what I mean? The day where that second bid gets rejected, all of a sudden, Andre comes into the pipeline. It's a bit fishy to me.
Yeah, and you know what? It's with Liverpool as well. I think they have a lot of players they're talking to that we don't know about as well.
Of course, yeah.
I think a lot of stuff goes under, the darkness of night, where they just, they're looking at deals to get done. I remember Fabinho getting signed from absolutely nowhere after
That was
we
the
lost the
best one,
Champions
yeah.
League final. 24 hours later, we signed Fabinho. And it's like, when were we talking to him? And like, I remember we signed Thiago, and then what? A couple of hours later, Paul Joyce put out a tweet, "Oh yeah, Liverpool want to get Jota as well."
Oh, yeah.
When was we talking to Jota?
And then he was done the next day as well, or like a couple of days later.
Yeah, it's like Szoboszlai this season. Not once were we ever mentioned to be in for
Nobody.
Szoboszlai. Not once. And they're like, well, no, he's available. Let's go and get him because he's the right player. This is what I always say. Yes, I would prefer owners that maybe, didn't fart around like this so much and just pay the 50 million for Lavia. I agree, because I want Lavia. I think Lavia is an exceptional talent who, in the years to come, we be one of them players and go, thank God we got him. You know what I mean? Because he could be that, and especially moulded under Jurgen. Jurgen could mould this kid into something special as well.
Agreed.
And I think that's what Jurgen's trying to do. He's trying to get his new young midfield like he had with when Henderson and Ronaldo and Fabinho were all in their mid-20s. And he had that team, that midfield for a few years, and he moulded it into the way he could. And I think that's what he's looking to go again. That's why everyone says Klopp 2.0 team. That's what he's trying to do again. And I think that's why we're going after younger talents. We're not wanting a 20, because we could easily go and get 27, 28-year-old DM who would just be a destroyer, but maybe a limited player that won't cost as much and the wages won't be as high, that we could go and get quite simply. But they're not after any of them, Ben. They're not after that kind of player.
No, I think it's because we know the way we're set up now is the aim to have all this possession, which we've always had anyway. But now, with what we're doing, with this new setup, we are going to aim to control every single game we play. And obviously, against the bigger sides, it might not be as easy. But when you've got all the ball in the world, like for most of the game, you don't need somebody like the lad from Fulham, Paulinho, because all due respect to him, his speciality is tackling and interceptions.
He's limited.
Yeah, on the ball, he's not good. That might be a bit harsh, but not as good as somebody like Lavia or somebody like that. On the ball, Lavia is brilliant. He can move with it. He can, I've seen him get the ball, turn his man. There was that clip against Man United where he takes two players out of the game and then moves the ball forward. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's a natural DM who's just like more old school. They're not really going to be able to do that when you've got all the ball in the world. So, yeah, I kind of get it. I know there's a lot of DMs out there where if you just want somebody to purely tackle and defend, of course, there's so many you can pick from. But I think the problem is we're looking for somebody that can do that and a bit more. And that profile is very, very limited, which is why we should just go and get the deal done.
Yeah. He's obviously a player. The rumours I'm hearing at the moment is Lavia is Klopp's choice. That's who Klopp wants. Because he sees something in him that is ideal for it, the way he wants to play. He sees something in him probably similar to Fabinho, but just at a much younger age, that he can mould. And I don't think Klopp would be scared about just starting him every week either, if he's Gabby's first choice number 6. And when I watch, because I got with Lavia, because we watch the Premier League week in, week out, you get. I'm used to watching Lavia. I've watched a lot of Southampton games last season. He's a tremendous little player. Under the press, he's really good. He's comfortable on the ball. He doesn't panic on the ball, which is a big plus in his game for a young guy. Doesn't panic on the ball, especially when you're playing in that middle of the pitch, especially in the Premier League. No panic, nice and calm, plays the ball forward, always has his head up, and that's what Klopp wants. Like you say, Polina, good player at Fulham, nothing wrong with him, 27, 28, extremely good defensive midfielder, probably a better tackler, ball winner than Lavia is. But Lavia's far better on the ball, and it's what we do after we got the ball back. We want to press high up the pitch and keep possession the way Klopp wants the possession to be kept. You can't have a number 6 who's not got any ball playing ability, because you just get exposed on that high line. Because we're never going to not play high. That's the way we play. We're high risk, high reward. That's the way we're always going to play under Jurgen. Does it give me a heart attack? Yeah. Do I wish sometimes we didn't play it? Of course, because we gotta give chances up. It's just the way we play. But if you've got players in that area of the pitch who can keep it better and protect the ball better, you got less chance of conceding chances. And for me, that's what he sees in Lavia, Ben. That sort of player.
Absolutely, mate. I think it's just when you look at what we didn't have last season, and it's even just the basics, like the absolute bare minimum, tracking your man, intercepting, as soon as you get the ball, we always taught that players scan really quickly. I remember there was one clip, Jordan Henderson picks up the ball, Harvey Elliott overlaps, goes into the space, but because Henderson's not looked ahead of him, he goes back to the centre-back, and Harvey was fuming about it. Just those little things which we missed massively last season. And Romeo Lavia is a very intelligent player, and, like I said before, the ceiling on this kid is absolutely sky high. He could go on to be the best TM in the world. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. So I do think that 80 million, I was thinking somebody else then, but 50 million is a lot, of course. Even in today's market, 50 million is not cheap, but sometimes I think you just have to bite the bullet and go with it, because this could, you never know, this could go on to be one of the best signings we've made for, the years to come after Klopp. Klopp's got 3 years, I think, left on his contract, next season 2 more. So, we have to build a squad and a spine and a core in that team that is absolutely ready for when he goes. And we've already started it by giving Trent the armband, the vice captain. He's going to be captain in 2 years. So that was a great move, a great start to it. Now we need to add the personnel. We've got Konate, absolutely amazing, signing for the future. And now we've got the likes of Ben Doak there, Nunes, Gakpo. All these guys are going to be here beyond Klopp. So we now need to look at that DM spot. And I think Romeo Lavia is the best option on the market for the money, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. The market's flooded with overpriced players. It just is at the moment, and I don't blame Southampton for putting 50 million on Lavia's head when they see Declan Rice going for 100 and the Casado for 100, who's only 18 months older. So I don't blame Southampton. He's their player, but sometimes you can bite your nose off to save your face, sort of thing. You can you don't want an unhappy player there. And we already saw what Lavia looked like in pre-season that game when he thought he was leaving. So, yeah, Lavia's got a taste of Premier League. Liverpool have come calling. A 19-year-old player with a lot of potential has got Liverpool knocking at their door. He's going to want to go to Liverpool. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. But, look, there's a lot of aggro. I've just seen Twitter and everyone's going mad because Reyes looks like he's going to join Arsenal, right? And everyone's talking about that's how big clubs act. They're getting Raya and stuff like that here, right? Right, that's how big clubs act, yeah.
So
right? Look, he's replacing Ramsdale. This is not difficult. It makes me laugh with Arsenal fans. Oh, Ray's going to come in as number 2. It's a bit weird. No, he ain't. He's far better than Ramsdale. He's taking that shirt. But do we all forget we bought Szoboszlai and McAllister this summer already? I swear they were good transfers. That no one, especially the Szoboszlai one. a £60 million release clause we paid for him, and we weren't linked with him, and we went and got him. Now, Raya, who's had a few years in the Premier League with Brentford, has got things behind him. He's got a career behind him. You can go back and trace to see how good he is. It's completely different than buying a Lavia who's only played 35 games in his professional career. You know, this is the thing. It's a gamble. Lavia is a gamble. And 50 million on a massive gamble. It's a massive, massive gamble. And as you know, guys, we haven't got the money of a lot of teams like that. So if the gamble's not right at 50 million, that's 50 million wasted on a midfielder. We need to make sure it's the correct player to join our club for this rebuild to happen. Because if he's a 50 million pound, we spend that 50 million on Lavia and he bombs, because he's only 19, only played 35 Premier League games. He's only had one professional year and he's got under him. I can understand the unwillingness to pay 50 million. But going after players from other clubs that people are buying that have got years behind them and resumes and stuff like that, it's a lot different, Ben, ain't it?
Yeah, of course. Ray is 27 and he's at it's Brentford, isn't it? Yeah, he's Brentford's number one, and it's like sign a top four club that competed for the title, going in for Brentford's goalkeeper is not the same in any way than signing, like you say, a 19-year-old who's played 30 career games for 50 million. I just don't understand how that comparison's been made, to be honest. They could have easily done the Declan Rice one or something like that. At least that would have made some sort of sense. But yeah, that's baffled me, to be fair. Look, Klopp said it again today, mate, that, we're happy with some of the in-house options we have. I think you want to speak about Curtis Jones in a few moments at the 6 and a couple more. But he did say, like, we are trying to sign players. And he said players, by the way, not player. He said players. So
we're in the market.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So, look, like I said, I'm going to give them until Friday, Saturday time. And I think as long as we hear some sort of movement either way regarding what player, or even if it's just straight up, they've said that we're not getting Lavia now, please just give us something, because for everyone involved, this can't be good for the players, the staff, the manager himself, even Southampton. They're going to have to replace him if they let him go this late on. And their season starts on Friday, by the way. I think they're on Friday Night Football. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, mate. But we're not going to let Fabinho go without a good replacement coming in my book. So I don't think Lavia would have started against Chelsea had he even signed before, to be honest. Even if he'd got the 2 or 3 preseason games, I don't think he would have put him in. That's almost like a rabbit in a headlight situation. Maybe Bournemouth at home would have been the better option to slot him in. So there is that sort of saving grace. I always said that Curtis Jones is probably going to start at Stamford Bridge in the 6, or McAllister, or if he's fit, Thiago, somebody like that. It's not ideal, but sometimes, mate, things aren't ideal in football, and you just have to find a solution, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I can't speak for Ben here, but I'm not. Look, I could easily do videos, right, where I praise Klopp to the hill and I just slag about FSG off about everything they do, right? I could easily do them kind of videos, yeah, but it wouldn't be truthful to myself because I don't see it always like that, guys. If everyone's new in the chat, I don't see things like that. I try and see it from a point of view why FSG and the club themselves may be looking at doing deals this way and why they're doing that and things like that. Because I'm trying to work it out in my head. It's not as simple as just going. I can understand, as I say, 30 odd games Lavia's played. They're asking for 50 million. I can understand Liverpool's unwillingness to meet that 50 million. Now, you got clubs like Chelsea who are just splashing cash on players here, there, and everywhere, and then expecting Pochettino to make a team next season. It don't make sense to me. It really don't. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm an FSG fan or anything like that. I couldn't give a crap. I'm Liverpool Football Club. I support the club. I don't really, if Klopp leaves, I'm still going to be a Liverpool fan. If FSG leave, I'm still going to be a Liverpool fan. When Steven Gerrard left Liverpool, I'm still a Liverpool fan. I love all these people. I hate all these people. They depress me. They make me happy. They get me irritated. That's part of being a Liverpool fan, and it's just the way it is, guys. But I'm no
It's
Liverpool. I'm no FSG shrill. Yes, I'm annoyed with them because I'm like, just get the Lavia deal done. You need a DM, just pay the money and get it done. And then, but then at the same time, I understand why they don't want to pay the money and get it done, if that makes sense.
yeah, and just on the back of the content stuff, mate, it's not cool to have the conversation that we're having. People want to see meltdowns. People want to see people screaming at phones. I'm not sure if you're into spaces on Twitter or X as it is now. But again, nobody wants to listen to people having a normal conversation like me. I was in one just before the stream. It was literally people screaming at each other about Liverpool Football Club, about football players that don't even know they exist. And it's like, life for me, and this might get a bit deep, but life is already, like, for most people, stressful and as crazy anyway without football. So for me, I just don't understand why people would get home from college or work or whatever it is they do, load up their phone and just continue to be toxic all day long, make videos just screaming and shouting the same video 5 or 10 times, because that's what happens. Some content creators will go out there tonight and make a video they've already made 3 times in this transfer window. It will get views, and that's the bottom line, mate. Of course, there's some arguments to be had. There are some truths to some of the stuff that they say, but yeah, I mean, I just don't get it myself. But they are businessmen at the end of the day, and if you run a business, you want to get your product for the right price. You want to get it for as little as you can, especially if you've got other areas where you need to spend your money. It's no different with the football club. Southampton have stuck to their 50 million valuation all along. We've tried it; it's not worked. Okay, now let's see if they cough up the money to make it work. So it is what it is, mate. And if it's not Lavia, we'll move on to somebody else who, I'm not saying he will be as good, or we don't know because we don't know who they're looking at. But yeah, one way or another, things will resolve themselves. We're not just going to go into the season with no DM, are we? Like, let's be real.
No, so be like kind of so. Lavia will count as homegrown once he hits 21 because he came through Man City's academy. So as soon as he hits 21, he will be homegrown.
Yeah, which is massive.
Oh, totally.
Mm.
Nobody forced them to go after Lavia. They knew he was a kid before they started chasing him, and just like Jude, they knew how much he was before they tried to sign him. I mean, look, you're all speaking facts. None of us are disagreeing with you guys in the chat at all. We all want Lavia's deal done. Just get it done. The Jude Bellingham thing is, I still don't know to this day how much the club actually went for Jude Bellingham. I don't think we're ever going to know. But I do know one thing, and that's one thing that might be heartbreaking to Liverpool fans, is that Jude Bellingham chose Real Madrid. And I think we just got to get over the fact. Look, Real Madrid, I always talk about pull in football. I don't think there's pull in teams as much anymore as they used to, because I think if you pay the wages, they'll come to you anyway. But I literally do think Real Madrid have the ultimate pull in football. I don't think it matters who manages Real Madrid, who's the vice president of Real Madrid, or whatever at the time. That badge and that white shirt probably has more pull than any football club in world football. So in the Premier League, if all the top players are going after the same player, you might get, Klopp might talk to them, it wins them over, or. But I saw saying the other day, I don't know if you saw it, Ben, that Arteta's got more pull than like a lot of the other managers now, because they were talking about, I think it was on Terrace, and they were talking about a player going to either Arsenal or Chelsea, and the Arsenal fan was saying, well, what wins it for Arsenal now is Arteta. They want to play for Arteta.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Don't do this to yourself, Arsenal fans. It's going to end up in disaster. You got to stop.
Need a humbling next season.
Yeah, it's just mad. For me, the two managers with the most pull in England are Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp.
100%, yeah.
It's just a fact. If you're a top player, I'm looking at Klopp. I'm looking at Pep Guardiola. They're the two managers. If you had an Ancelotti era or Conte when he was at Spurs, maybe, but he's gone now. I don't. Pochettino at Chelsea. I don't think the pull is for Poch. I think it's just they will pay you the money, and it's London. So I think it's quite a simple thing for there. But yeah, they're the two that have the pull, and but Real Madrid they have pull, man, and that's why Jude Bellingham went, and he's going to do bits. I got a feeling Jude Bellingham never plays in the Premier League.
I reckon.
Yeah, I think he might be one of them English guys that you just don't see in the Premier League, because why would you leave Real Madrid? And he's got to be there for 6 years at least. And then after that 6 years, unless he leaves for a free, it's going to be a ridiculous transfer fee for him. That probably the only two teams that could afford him in 6 years' time are probably Newcastle and City. So, that might be it. But yeah, Jude Bellingham's a super player, though, but deserves to be at Real Madrid if you ask me. So let's move on from the Lavia, the Andre thing. I just want to show one thing of Andre, why Liverpool might be interested in him. So this is Andre's heat map from last season. Don't know if you've seen this yet, but in a BNR's channel, I think. So look, his accurate passing there is 94.3%. His forward passing 88.4%. His accurate final third passing 87%. So that means he can win the ball back, and he's good on the ball in that final third of the pitch, which is our counter pressing. Total successful action 78%, accurate through passes 60%, which if he's more of a DM, you wouldn't expect too many through passes. And offensive duels won about just over 50%, and that's his heat map. He's an extremely busy player. Favours the left hand side more of it. It depends what side to play. Yeah, left hand side of the pitch. By the look of it, he favours more. But if you look at that heat map there and them stats, you see why Liverpool might be interested in there.
Yeah, of course. And like you say, mate, this is a player that apparently, we've been looking at for a while now. And I think Liverpool scout their players at really young ages. We've just seen a couple come into the academy this week. There's one from Leicester, one from West Ham. So they've probably been looking at this kid since he was 15, 16 sort of time. I just don't know what to say. I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to... the stats look great, and, the old compilations look great, but I don't know. I've seen some people say this guy will be amazing, and I've seen some people say, no, this guy's nowhere near what we need. So I'm not sure. I have no idea. I don't think... if we sign Andre, I'd like to think that's not the only midfielder we'll sign. But if we sign Lavia, then I think there's a possibility that might be it, and then a centre-back. Potentially, because if we've only got 20 million left to spend, which is apparently what you can get Andre for, then that is a mess. And we've just got 40 for Fabinho, we got about 13 for Henderson. We spent 60 on Szoboszlai, 35 for McAllister. That's only 95 million. So take 50 away from that. We only had a 40 mil budget to start the window. Come on, like. We were told that they had all this money aside for Jude Bellingham, which is from Paul Joyce, by the way, the most reliable Liverpool journalist there is. So we have to just go and get the right signings. And I've trusted this club all this time to go and get the plays that Jurgen Klopp needs. And there has been frustration with a lot of the fans on social media and all of that, and I completely get it. But when Jurgen Klopp needs a player, more often than not, we do get the player. Like, I don't think anybody can deny that. Mane left last season. We went and spent 80 million on Nunes. You know what I mean? Like, they could have easily just gone and got somebody, for like 30, 35 million, like the cheaper option we spoke about earlier. But I think when push comes to shove, we get the player. It's the ones in between that we don't normally get. We're all saying we need another centre back. Well, FSG are going to turn around and say, but you've already got 4. You don't need another one. So I think we'll get a DM and we'll get a good one.
I mean, that is a point, though. I mean, if you're an owner of a football club and you look at it and you go, oh, I've got 4 centre backs. You got 4 centre backs there, and Matip was a great servant in this football club. Won everything. You always played him. Joe Gomez, he was your number 1 centre back with Virgil for all the injuries
as well.
Yeah, and then you got Kanate in with Virgil as your number 1 partnership.
Kwanzaa coming through.
And you got Kwanzaa coming through as well, who looks a beast. Do you need a centre back? That I'm not saying they shouldn't buy a centre back, but these are the conversations that will be happening. So, look, personally, if anyone's going to leave, it's probably going to be Nat Phillips. Obviously, he's been needing to leave for about 3 years now, but every time he's going to,
bless him,
can't. So he needs to go. But if he goes, he never really plays. So it's just one of them players on the periphery that really never played. So he's still looking at either a Matip or Gomez to leave the football club now. Gomez will bring you more money, but Gomez is homegrown. And Matip is the one you could probably release. But what annoys me about Matip is that coming forward to the ball, he's still top notch from that centre back area. It's his defending at the moment. It's weak and lazy, and he don't look like he's got his head screwed on defending wise, and in his positional play, and it's just a bit crazy with Matip. Is it just age catching up with him? Is it the years playing for Jurgen Klopp? I think that does take an effect on these players because it's so draining and intense. Whatever it is, we definitely need a new centre back. I don't know who we're going to go for, though. There's been so many rumours of so many players, Ben. I just don't know the centre back Liverpool are interested in. I really don't. Because as you say, we're going to get Lavia. What's left in the war chest? It's. I don't know. Is it a defender in the Premier League already that we go for? Is it a young guy? Personally, I think if Liverpool go get a centre back, it's going to be a young centre back around 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And what killed me is there were some Liverpool fans that genuinely believed we could have got Levi Colwill. Big up Monts, by the way.
Oh yeah, big up Monts for the redirect. I think you redirected earlier. Big up to you, man.
Yeah. People genuinely thought we had a chance at getting Levi Colwill, which
and you just get a 6-year deal now. I'm saying
exactly,
like that.
Yeah. And it's like, hang on a minute.
I love the kid, but yeah, it's gone.
I do as well. I think he's brilliant, but you're telling me we can't even go and get Lavia for 50 million, but you genuinely believe that we can get a centre back for 80 million from a team that fancies themselves as a direct rival? Like, obviously, that's never going to happen. I said it from the absolute start. Like, these ITKs and these people, like, just ignore them. We aren't getting Levi Colwill for 80 million. Maybe 50, 55, 60, absolute push. For 80 million, more than what we paid for Virgil van Dijk. Absolutely no chance that was ever going to happen. But apart from him, obviously, we've seen Inacio links. Again, not a player I've really watched too much. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think we need sort of similar profile to Konate, really. Somebody that's ready to come in for the future, but can also keep the guys that we have on their toes. And, Konate came in and very quickly displaced Matip and Gomez from their starting positions. That's exactly what we need again, because yes, Virgil van Dijk's just been made captain, and I'm absolutely delighted for him. What a Liverpool legend he is, massive servant to the club. I don't think anybody can argue with that appointment, but he's only got 2 years left at the club. So we have to look beyond Virgil van Dijk. We can't let Virgil walk out those doors and think, sugar, we're a bit light now. Like, we don't have anybody. We don't have anybody with that, I know we like to say, aura. I think that'll be quite hard to replace, to be fair. But what I'm saying is we can't let the future come and be ill-prepared, because we'll just go back to where we were before Klopp if that happens, and that is a scary thought.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good defenders in the Premier League that Liverpool could go and get that could be third or fourth choice right now, and then could come in odd games and look decent.
Yeah,
it's just who Liverpool fancy. As we know, they got a strict way and they buy players. Like a lot of people say it all the time. It's I've had people in my chat say before, like, why are we going for that player when he costs so much money when we could have got that player who's cheaper and just as good? Or it's because Liverpool have an identity with a player that they just really think there's something about that player, and they think the value for that player is too good to turn down. They go for that player. Like, they believe Darwin Núñez is going to be $100 million plus player in the future. That's why they went. That's why they went and go. That's why they went in for him. That's why they, I think it shocked everyone when we went 65 million on Darwin, who had really one tremendous season the year before against Benfica. Do I think Darwin can be a success at Liverpool? Yeah, if 100%. We let Darwin play to his way and not try and make him a link striker, which isn't his game at all, and probably never will be. Just let Darwin play his way, and he'll score goals. But that's what Liverpool think in the market. So I'm thinking of defenders, and I'm not sure. Guayi from Palace. I'm not sure. It's gonna have to be, because I'm not sure about the. So we've got the homegrown quota we've got to work out about, and then I don't know how many spaces are left for foreign players in the team either. So it might be something they'll have to look at young Premier League players in. But they
I'm
definitely
just
need a
trying to
centre
think.
back.
Yeah, who are they? I ain't got a clue.
No, they definitely need a centre back. And Van der Ven, who they were linked with, I mean, it's I don't know. Look, Nat Phillips could play football with at the back. Nat Phillips would be its stay at Liverpool. Fortunately for Nat Phillips is a defender in the wrong generation.
Yeah.
If Nat Phillips was playing in the early 2000s, he'd be tremendous. But he's playing in an era now where your centre backs actually got to play football and play out from the back. And the way, receive the ball from your goalkeeper and be able to turn and play the ball and stuff like that. And unfortunately for Nat, it's not his strong point. Not his strong point. Big up Gang and Deep with a super. StreamYard show it. There we go. Big up Gang Deep. Much appreciated. We need minimum a centre, CDM and a centre back. I'd ideally another midfielder, but sure, we'll do what's required to fully prepare ourselves for the season ahead. At best, if we leave the squad as it is and we finish third, which isn't success for me. Sorry. That I agree. Personally, I think this season Liverpool's objectives are probably just getting in back into the top four. I don't think they got any other objectives than that. I really don't think they're looking at anything past that right now. But that's a story for another day. Before we finish up, we've got to just talk quickly about Curtis Jones. So Klopp made a thing sort of alluded to the fact that Curtis Jones will play the number 6 role against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. Ben, how are we feeling about that? Me personally, I've said it before. I don't think Curtis Jones should have lost his place in the midfield at the start of the season just because we bought new players. Because he ended last season extremely well, had a great under 21 tournament, and he is flying in confidence at the moment. That's all we've ever wanted to see from Curtis Jones, ain't it? So, but
100
number 6, different story.
Yeah, 100%. Everything you've just said there, I completely agree with Curtis Jones. I've been a big fan of him since he came in, to be honest. And I think a lot of the criticism is very harsh. I think a lot of people have just heard this agenda and kind of stuck with it. And now when you praise Curtis Jones, you get, oh, it's only been 10 games, or it's only been an under 21 tournament. Well, what do you want? Do you want him to start progressing, or do you not want him to progress? Because every time he progresses, there's always an excuse. So, yeah, first of all, I'm delighted to see him playing the way he is. The confidence that he has. He's a player with scary ability. He just needed to polish a couple of his areas up. Decision making, I think, was a huge one, which I think he's starting to really get right now. And that was always going to come with age. Like, I think football nowadays, right? There's no time, and people, if you have a young kid in the squad from the age of 18 to 21, unless they're world class players, people don't want to know, and that's the fact. Like, what happened to giving a player time, giving the player minutes to actually get that experience? And we weren't going for a title last season, so it was absolutely fine to play Bajcetic and Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. That's
I
fine.
agree.
So next season will be the same, mate, because again, I agree with that comment before. I don't think I'm going to say we'll go for the title because I say it every year, but deep down, I know we probably won't. But I think we're going to go for all the cups, and I think we're going to go for top 4. We're going to take all the cups extremely seriously. And in those cups, in that Europa League campaign, Curtis Jones, if he isn't starting in the league, which I don't see no reason as to why he shouldn't, he'll flourish in those as well. But just coming back to the 6th point, it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously the under 21 tournament is a completely different kettle of fish to Chelsea away
Oh,
on the opening day of the Premier League season. But one thing I know about Curtis Jones, after reading up on him and hearing Steven Gerrard speak about him, is this boy backs himself in anything he does, whether it's playing on the left, which he used to do as a kid, whether it's playing as the 8, the box to box, any position, Curtis Jones backs himself. And I think obviously because he doesn't have that physical prowess like Fabinho, people will instantly say, no, he shouldn't play there. But I think when it comes to his technical ability and, like I said, his decision making is improved already. For a little stopgap, he would be fine. My only concern is Chelsea away is a game that we have struggled with, let's be real, in the last few years. So it will be a big, big test for him. On the flip side of that, if he comes out on top, then that is another option. As long as we sign a DM, by the way, you've got to remember, I'm not saying that Jones can be the answer at DM long term. I don't want to see that. As long as we sign one and then use him as well, I'm happy with it.
No, man. I agree. Look, it's we got Bayern Munich. Before you go, I just got to get you on this. We got Bayern Munich on tomorrow, and 12:30 kick-off for everyone, guys. I believe we're going to see. I think we're going to see in that first half, especially the Chelsea starting 11 that play against Chelsea, because this is Bayern Munich. I think this is our biggest game of pre-season. I know we've got that game in Preston against Dramstat, because Liverpool usually like playing an Anfield game before the season starts, don't they? But they can't do it this year, obviously, because of the stadium. So they're going to play in Preston against Dramstat. I don't think you'll see the strongest team in that. They might see a lot of youth players and stuff like that. Hopefully, we've learned our lesson from that Strasbourg friendly before last season kicked off with Canati getting injured. I think we'll see our strongest team in that. Do you reckon as well? Because that'd be exciting to see as well.
Yeah, it's a test as well. The level of the opposition has gone up enormously since what we've played in the first few games. So, of course, it's a friendly. We can't read too much into it. But I think it will be in the back of Klopp's mind that, okay, this is more like what we're going to face when we do go to Chelsea away. I'm not saying it's the same team. What I'm saying is it's that same sort of stature in terms of the clubs, buying of world-class players. This is the real test for pre-season where, if McAllister comes out and smashes this, then yeah, okay, he's ready to start. So Bosley, okay, yeah, Curtis Jones, it's a big one for him if he plays as the 6. It's going to be a big test. It's going to be a step up in terms of the quality of the teams we've played. And I'm looking forward to it. I will be working in the office, but word on the grapevine is the gaffer's not in tomorrow. So happy days for me.
There you
He'll
go.
be tuning in, yeah.
Why the
Hope
boss
he's not
is
watching.
away? Why the boss is away?
Exactly, mate.
All right, Ben, I know you got to run, my friend. I do appreciate you coming on for the hour.
Nice one for getting me on, mate. Appreciate that.
No worries, guys. Make sure you go and subscribe to Anfield Talk. You're on, isn't it? Anfield Talk.
Yeah,
go and
Anfield
make
Talk,
sure you go and subscribe to Anfield Talk. So you know the Anfield Talk on Twitter, guys, that most of you probably follow. Please go and subscribe to their YouTube channel that Ben hosts. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you very much, man. I'll see you soon.
Take care, bro.
Cheers, guys. Right. So my daughter walked into the room there. Kids, man. Daughter walked into the room. But big up to everyone in the chat. Hope we're all doing well. Thank you for staying here. Look, guys, we'll go through the comments quickly. Get your comments in, guys. Let me know what you think. So, Lavia, what's going to happen there? Yes or no? Are Liverpool going to buy Lavia? Is it going to go the right way? Are we going to spend the 50 million on him? Are we going to leave it? Hang on, guys. 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Kids. I've got my family. I'm a dad. I'm a family man. Kids come in your room. Sorry about that. What do we think, guys? Is Lavia going to happen? What are we saying? Like, there's plenty of things from Fabrizio up today talking about Lavia. That we're going to go back in for him. Lavia wants the Liverpool deal. He wants to go to Liverpool. I think he's an exceptional talent. Pat Man's in the chat. I know he's a big City fan. He might know a bit more about Lavia himself. But we got Fabrizio saying today that negotiations are going to continue for Lavia, but Lavia himself wants to move to Liverpool. So Lavia's got his heart set on the move to Liverpool. Liverpool need a defensive midfielder, guys. There's no doubt about it. We've done this to ourselves. Liverpool have done this to themselves. They have messed up. We know from time that Henderson and Fabinho couldn't be at Liverpool forever. Henderson, we all know Henderson's age. He's 33. Liverpool should have been making reassurances that we're getting players in before these players left. Fabinho after the last 12 months has not been great. He's just not been great for 12 months, Fabinho. And that should have alerted Liverpool to the fact that they needed to get a DM in quickly. And what worries me is that We went and got McAllister and Szoboszlai in this summer already, yeah? We acted quite quickly and got them 2 players in. We knew about McAllister earlier on because we were always heavily invested in McAllister. You know, there's rumours that Liverpool go going for McAllister at the World Cup. You know, in January, Liverpool looking back at him, and then as soon as the summer transfer opens, Liverpool go in and get this McAllister deal done. Great bit of business, 35 million. Liverpool found out he had a release clause that no one knew about. Liverpool did their homework beautifully, got a very good player in that I'm sure I'm happy about, and I'm sure everyone in the chat is absolutely happy about, yeah? And then we went and got Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai was a player none of us knew we were going for. You know, we all saw these links to players, Ryan Gravenberch, Lavia, Kone, Thuram. You know, we already had McAllister in the club. These were the list of players that Amrabat on the maybe. You know, these are the list of players going over social media from the journalists and all that were talking about the players. Not once did anyone mention Szoboszlai. And then out of nowhere, we just put in a bid for Szoboszlai, and now apparently that was another release deal, 60 million, I believe. So Liverpool doing release deals on these players, getting these players in, which is fantastic. And so there's money there that Liverpool can spend, but they never once looked at a defensive midfielder. And the thing I get irritated about, and it's annoying me, is that this club knew that Fabinho had a bad 12 months. Even in the year that we won the FA Cup and League Cup, when we're going in that quadruple season, Fabinho towards the end of that season started to drop off a little bit. We all saw it with our own eyes. And then it carried on into last season when he was terrible for the whole year. Really, really struggled. And not once did we look to buying a defensive midfielder. And then rumours from news coming out of the club is that the player that was droppable was Fabinho. You know, rumours coming out of the club only 3 weeks ago before Fabinho got sold is that, you know, Fabinho is untouchable. We're not after another number 6 because they trust Fabinho. And all of a sudden, a club from Saudi Arabia decided to wake up one morning and go, you know what, we're going to change that and buy Fabinho for 40 million. And Liverpool were like, wow. Liverpool couldn't believe it. They must have woke up that morning. The transfer committee must have woke up that morning. Joel Schmack must have got a phone call that morning and gone, wow, really? I watched Fabinho in training this week. You really want to buy him for 40 million? I'm not, we're not going to turn that down. We're not going to turn that down. They go and tell Jurgen. Oh, Jurgen, guess what? You want to have a laugh? Yeah. This club wants to go and buy Fabinho for 40 million. We ain't turning it down. And we end up selling Fabinho for 40 million. And then Hendo, a club comes in for Hendo. You know, what club comes in for Henderson? I always thought Jordan Henderson was going to retire at Liverpool Football Club. I thought that was the plan. And then a club comes along again from Saudi Arabia and goes, you know what, Jordan? Do you want to come and join us with your old gaffer, Stevie G, your best mate over here? So we sold 2 players that I didn't think would go anywhere. I don't think Jurgen Klopp thought Henderson and Fabinho were going anywhere this season. I don't think Liverpool Football Club thought Henderson and Fabinho were going anywhere this season. So Liverpool have been caught cold a little bit on these transfers. But that's not an excuse no more. It can't be an excuse. Because they knew Henderson was not up to it no more. The man is 33 years of age. I've got all the love and respect in the world for Jordan Henderson. Great skipper, great player at his time for Liverpool. But his time came and gone. 33. He's not athletic anymore. He can't do what he used to do. And Fabinho fell off a bloody cliff. But we was never after a defensive midfielder. And now we've got to buy a defensive midfielder because we sold him for 40 million. Mad. It's absolutely mad and makes it makes no sense. How am I seeing it? How are you guys in the chat seeing it? That Fabinho's not quite right, and maybe we need to go and buy another number 6. And our club is like, nah, Fabinho's untouchable till someone bid 40 million for him. Then he was touched. That didn't sound right. Pause. But then we sold him, and now we're like, oh, we're scrabbling around for a number 6 now. Right, let's go Lavia. We really rate Lavia. I rate Lavia. I think he's a top talent, but he's raw. He's 19. He's a gamble. I think he's got a high ceiling. In a few years' time, he could be it. But it's always going to be ifs and maybes. It's not, you can never be quite sure. But Southampton want 50 million. Our football club don't want to spend 50 million. It's as simple as that. Me and Ben have spoke about it the last hour. I can understand why they don't want to spend 50 million. And for anyone who's newsing, we've got over 400 people in the chat right now. Go and smash that like button, guys. Go and smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff, guys. I would appreciate. Let's get them likes on the way. Much love to all of you. I really do appreciate it. But I understand why they don't get Lavia. And the reason they pay the 50 million for Lavia is because they're looking at him thinking, right, Lavia's played 30 games in his first professional year. You've got to remember, Lavia hasn't really got a history of games behind him. He came from Man City's youth academy to Southampton and had his professional basically debut at Southampton last year, where he looked fantastic. And then all of a sudden, Southampton rate him at 50 million. So I can understand why Liverpool are a bit like, he's had 30 games, you want 50 million for him. Literally half. Declan Rice went for 100 million to Arsenal, but Declan Rice has been playing for West Ham for like 5 years and has got like a career behind him already. But you want us to pay 50 million for a geezer who's only played 30 games in his professional career. So I can understand why the club are reluctant to pay the 50 million. But I'm at a point now where I'm like, pay the 50 million because we're desperate. We are desperate. Pay the 50 million. I can argue with people on Twitter about this sort of stuff and all that. And I understand everyone's point, saying FSG are tight and all that. I agree. But at the same time, I can play devil's advocate and twist it and say, I can understand why they don't want to go to 50 million. And I'm sure some of you guys in the chat right now can understand that in a way, right? But at the same time, we need defensive midfielders. We have none. Like Stefan Barsetic is the only real defensive midfielder we have at our football club. And he hasn't played pre-season yet. So we're going to rely on Curtis Jones to play number 6 against Chelsea. So if that don't tell you desperation, I don't know what will. Liverpool just pay the money Southampton want. It's not like we're far away. We're offering over 40 million at times. We're offering over 40 million at times. So we're not miles away from what they're asking for. I think we've offered 41 million today, and that was what got turned down. So we're 9 million out. It's not like we're miles away from what they want. Just go and pay it. Literally, just go and pay it. We're in a predicament now where we have to pay. We have to pay the money. Just go and do it. Look, it's a gamble. Of course it's a gamble. Everything's a gamble in transfers. But I think Lavia's gamble will pay off, in my opinion. I think he could be an exceptional talent in a few years' time. Just get these players in, man. Just get these players in. We need a centre-back. Like me and Ben said earlier, I don't know what centre-back we're going to go for. I know everyone wants a centre-back from Leipzig over there. I don't know. We ain't going to buy him because he's worth 80 to 90 million. So let's put that in the back burner, guys. Gabriel's not going to happen, right? Let's put that in the back burner. What other centre-backs is out there that Liverpool go buy? We need a centre-back. Virgil and Konate are great. Matip and Gomez are not at it anymore. We need a third-choice centre-back. Desperately. We need a defensive midfielder and a centre-back to come in this summer. If we get Lavia in and we get a centre-back in to go with McAllister and go with Szoboszlai, I'm pretty happy. I'm content. Do I think we can do more? Yes. Should we do more? Probably. right? But I'm content. At least you've made an effort at seeing what we need, and you've gone and got them in. In my opinion. In my opinion. Yeah, that's the player, Gang and Deep. That's the player everyone's talking about. Will they go for him? Who knows, man? James and Harry Maguire, could you imagine? We got Tybark in the chat. How you doing? How's it hanging, Jay? How's it hanging? He's all good. The reason we are unsure is nobody else is really going for him. Yeah, exactly. Big up my man. How you doing? No, bro. Stopgap, just top class players. We have enough of that from the past. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Definitely. Jamie, I like what you're saying and see all the hard work you've put in. Keep it up, bro. Big up to you, man. I appreciate it. Love. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. Really, really kind of you. Big up James in the chat. Every summer it's the same thing. FSG, rinse and repeat. It does annoy me. It does annoy me. Are you happy with a CDM and a defender, Jamie? Job done for us. Look, if we get the centre back in, if we get Lavia in to go with McAllister and Szoboszlai, I'm content with that. I'll be fair with everything else we got in the squad. I'm happy with that. I'm quite a realist as well. I'm realistic, like most of you are in the chat. I don't expect us to go and upgrade on absolutely everyone in one transfer window. Right? I don't expect it. I'm being a realist. If we get them players in this summer, and then we add to it by getting another player in January, halfway through the season, then I'm pretty happy with that. Because I think that's what could happen. We've got to remember the January transfer market and see what happens there. But it's Andre stuff. I mean, it's just, I'm not sure, guys. I'm really not sure. The transfer deadline for Andre shuts tomorrow, I think it is. I think Andre, if I'm correct, is playing tonight as well for Fluminense. They're playing tonight as well. So it'd be interesting. Will they do the deal? Is he a player? Is he a player that Liverpool might buy, but then bring him in January? Like Liverpool might buy him this summer. Like they got 24 hours to do the deal. Apparently they've been talking to the club all day today. So there's a possibility of getting the deal done next 24 hours. It might be a deal where he stays in Brazil till January and then comes back over then. And also you don't have to worry about what is it that like because he's only had one Brazilian international cap, you know, he can still transfer and stuff like that. Because before that, I think was it non-EU players that didn't have international caps or enough international caps couldn't be registered, but they've changed the rules on that, so that's not a problem. But it's interesting. Also, look, we've lost 8 players this summer, guys. We've lost 8 players this summer, and we've only brought in 2. So I can understand why people are getting upset and worked up. We brought in 2 players, but left and lost 8 players. But let's be real here. You know, all the players we have lost, yeah, I would say are the players that we all got annoyed with last season. They're the players we got annoyed with last season. Now, I did a lot of videos last season, and the same 2 or 3 names always pops up every single week. 2 of them were Fabinho and Henderson. Are not good enough anymore and need to be moved on. We've moved them on. At the moment, Henderson has been replaced by McAllister, and I would say Milner has been replaced by Szoboszlai. Now, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita never played. So it depends how your agenda is. See, some people will go, no, we replaced McAllister and Szoboszlai replaced Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? That's what people will say. But them 2 never played football. You know, Oxlade-Chamberlain's been injured for 3 years. Naby Keita kicks a ball and gets injured straight away. So they never play. So for me, the 3 players that played in our midfield most of last season and were important to the team were Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho. I would say Henderson and Milner have been replaced by McAllister and Szoboszlai. And if we get Lavia in, if FSG actually wake up and do the deal for Lavia, then Lavia will replace Fabinho. So the 3 players that are left that were crucial to our midfield last season would have been replaced by Lavia, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. So it all depends how you look at it. Like last year, everyone told me Liverpool's only good midfielder was Thiago. He's the only one. The only one was Liverpool's good midfielder was Thiago last year. Now I look at it and go, right, now we've got Thiago still at the football club. We've got McAllister and we've got Szoboszlai. If we get Lavia in, then you've got Curtis Jones, who was good at the end of the season. I think he's a decent squad player. We can't underestimate it. Then you've got Stefan Bajcetic, who everyone absolutely loves. So in a way, if we get Lavia in, and we've got them 6 midfielders there, and then you've got Harvey Elliott, who's number 7 on the list, in a way, that midfield is better than last year's midfield. Because last year's midfield, Fabinho was terrible, Henderson was terrible, yeah, Thiago was never fit, Naby Keita was never fit, Oxlade-Chamberlain was never fit. All right, so they couldn't play. And we had to rush around looking for youth players to play in midfield. Trent had to go in midfield and play there. All right. So in a way, our midfield is actually a little bit better now than it was last season. All it's lacking is a little bit of depth. But McAllister's better than everyone we had last season. Szoboszlai would be better than everyone we had last season. We still got Thiago, which the well tells me is world class. Yeah. If we get Lavia in, then Lavia would be great. And then you got Curtis Jones, who ended the season extremely well. And you got Stefan Bajcetic, who everyone loves. So in a way, the midfield is better because all the dead crap has gone. But the problem is there's no depth. And I understand the issues. I agree with everyone as well. Just get the Lavia deal done. It's irritating the crap out of me. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just get Lavia in. Lavia's got to come in. Klopp has said it today in an interview in his press conference today, if everyone saw it. We need a DM. A DM's going to come in one way or the other. Paul Joyce has tweeted out today. Liverpool will buy a defensive midfielder before the transfer market shuts on the 1st of September. So we've got what, 4 weeks to get this transfer done. So if it's not Lavia, it's got to be someone who's a recognised defensive midfielder. No square peg in a round hole nonsense like with Curtis Jones playing the 6. Go and get an established. Don't have to be established. Just go and get someone who plays the number 6 role and plays it really well. Just go and get him. Just pay the money, man. Just pay the money. Just get it done. I'm with all of you guys. Just pay the money and get it done. We got to overpay. It's just the way it is because we've done it to ourselves. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot time and time again. And eventually it's going to catch up with us. Just go and get Lavia, man. He's perfect for us. That's why we want him. He's Klopp's choice. Klopp wants Lavia. It's his choice. I'm with Klopp on this. I said it last season. At the end of last season, I said it. This summer, the owners have got to get Jurgen Klopp the players he wants. So if Jurgen Klopp wants Lavia, go and get him Lavia. Go and get him. If Klopp wants him, go and get him. It's mad. It's mad. I'm sick of. I don't want to do, square pegs in round holes. I really don't. I don't want to do that all season, guys. It's going to be so frustrating. I don't want Thiago and Trent and Curtis Jones all playing the number 6 role next season. I don't want to see it. I want to get a number 6 in. And then everyone can play in their natural position. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be lovely, guys, that if we had enough players next season that everyone could actually play in their natural positions? And guess what? You got players playing in their natural positions. We might actually play pretty well next season. There's a full FSG. Do that. Go and buy players that can play in their natural position. Let's not do this square peg round hole nonsense, please. You know, it's just mad. Cooper Miners, yeah, Cooper Miners. Look, Cooper Miners is a decent player. I know a lot of people ain't a fan of him, but I watched him at Atlanta. His stats are mad. He's a good footballer. Go and get him. Go and get him. He's decent. Better than what we got. It's better than what we got. Go and get it, man. Jamie, it's true. Why struggle when we can afford to get what we need? Exactly. Liverpool actively offered £41 million for Lavia. So there's money there, guys. There's money there. Liverpool actively offered £41 million for Lavia. So we can afford to go and get a defensive midfielder. There's no doubt about that. So the money's not really the issue. It's the tightness and the laziness. That's the issue. That's the issue. Let me know what you think in the chat, guys. Pat, big up to you. Yeah, FSG are miserable. I can't put that on the screen, but big up to you, Pat. You're in, big up to you, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Jane and FSG can set up off. FSG chest hurting for that extra 8 million. It's mad, ain't it? It's just silly, ain't it? Just go and pay it, man. Big up, Mike. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for being here as always and supporting the channel. Guys, if you are new to the channel today, please go and hit that subscribe button. If you are a new subscriber, let me know in the chat right now with a thumbs up emoji. If you're a brand new subscriber to the channel today, put a thumbs up emoji in the live chat and I'll give you a big shout out. Thank you to everyone who's joining me as always, my original guys, everyone who's always here. Much love to you, supporting the channel beautifully as always. Couldn't do it without you guys. Couldn't do it without all you guys. Now, I know a lot of people are asking about the watch along tomorrow. Now, I thought the watch along was going to be early, like the Leicester game at 10 a.m. But I believe the watch along tomorrow is that the game starts at 12:30 tomorrow. Is that correct? Now, it is actually my birthday tomorrow. It's actually my birthday tomorrow. So it's at 12:30 and I've got guests. I say guests. I've got my parents and my family coming around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I don't know if I'll be able to do the watch along, guys. I'll have a word with my wife later and have a talk about it and see what we can do. But if I can't do the watch along tomorrow, what I will do, I will go live tomorrow night in the evening sometime and do a match reaction video. And maybe we can have a bit of a birthday celebration on the channel, guys. Yeah, what do you reckon about that? We'll do a bit of a birthday celebration on the channel tomorrow. 21 is it? Add another 20 to that, Wiggs, and then you're on my. Add another 21 to that, Wiggs, and then you're on my age. Yeah. Jamie, you're right. FSG need to pay that we bit more for Lavia. We did this to ourselves, so pay up, guys. Exactly. The money is there. Big up from Jim. Happy born anniversary. Big up to you, man. Big up, Pat. I'm still younger than Fab, apparently. Birthday, guys. Big up, Jamie. Do we get cake, Jamie? I'll eat cake live, and you can eat with me. Big up, Earthworm. Big 40 in November. The big 40. Yeah, I'll be 42 tomorrow, guys. Big up, Phil. Appreciate it. 42 is the new 21. Look, I feel 21. I ain't gonna lie. I feel 21. Happy birthday, Jamie. You have a great channel. Big up, Shane. Thank you very much. Yeah, big up your room as well. Big up all you guys. You're still younger than Pat Butcher. Pat Butcher's a legend. We know this. Come on. No, much love to all you guys. Much love. So, if I don't do the watch along tomorrow, you know why. It's my birthday. But I will probably. I'll say this now. I won't do the watch along tomorrow because of the time it's at. Because I've got family coming round. So I won't be able to do the watch along. If it was at 10 a.m. like the Leicester game, it would have been easier for me to do. So what I do, I just watch the game normally, and I'll do a match reaction in the evening, and we'll have a bit of a birthday celebration tomorrow night, guys. Yeah. So and hopefully we get some good news tomorrow with the Lavia deal. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you supporting the channel. You guys are fantastic. I couldn't do this all without you. You know that. Big up supporting, big up liking. Much love to all of you. Guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to see you tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.